This is how they stand after round 6 in the preliminary of the women's platform diving. Great Britain first and fourth. And remember, we are looking for a cut-off after 12th place to get through to the final, and it is very tight around there indeed. 2 more rounds to go, and maybe somebody can make a break out of the pack, or judging by the evidence this morning, then it's really down to if the competitors in a strong position can keep their nerve and can keep their form.
Well, someone who really needs to keep her nerve is Baku2015 of Azerbaijan in 12th place at the moment. These next two, well, that dive and her next dive are going to be crucial. She is going to make the final later this evening.
5.5, 6, 5.5. Total scores for this dive, 46.20.
6.20, 5.5s.
This is Anna Tasiak from Poland, down in 24th place.
Managed to get into that extension she would need for a good score. It was a difficulty of 2.7, so high on the scale there, but you can just see she's still almost in her tuck position as she hits the water. That's reflected in those low scores.
Iona Pastiu from Romania. Now, she really is in the crucial position. 13th.
Oh, that's going to be a little bit sore on the back of her legs, but it's going to be sorer on her overall standings. That was a difficulty of 2.9, a back 2.5 somersault. But that is not a good score. 20.3. Probably just seen her chances of placing the final out of the window.
Just emphasising the point we made earlier about getting through this competition without making the fatal error in the last couple of rounds and spoiling what's been a fairly long and demanding preliminary round. Parvola here. Arm stand out of it again.
Forward double somersault. She scored 6s on her previous dive. Or 6s or more. This one. Looks happy.
Not bad. Valeria Liulko of Ukraine, 14th, another one in contention, providing. Back 2.5 somersault, 1.5 twist, 3.2. This is a big dive here for her. 15 years of age.
There's a lot of twists and turns in that difficulty of 3.2, and you can understand why when you watch it.
A little bit of continued rotation there as well, but it'll be a bit of a tight call making these decisive places here. Now here comes the top diver on pedigree in the competition. Yulia Timoshenina has a very strong synchronized record behind her already, remember.
That was a difficult dive. 3.5 back somersault. The crowd are loving that. I mean, the fact these divers really pushing themselves towards the end of these preliminary rounds.
Judges score 6,
3-3 is the highest tariff dive we've seen pretty well so far. Accomplished diver, solid 64.35, certainly enough to do the immediate job.
That is her highest score so far.
Kimberly Lee from the Netherlands needs to push on a bit. 2.6 and 2.4 the tariff on her remaining 2 dives, starting with this back 2.5 somersault with half a twist.
She's one of those divers who does like to take her time. Really composes herself before launching off that 10-metre platform.
Just felt a bit heavy all round, really.
Judges score 4.5, 5, 5, 4.5, 5, 5.5, 4.5. Total score for this dive
37.70. 1 to go for her.
Tamar Stichanek.
Tamar Stichanova, the Georgian. She is attempting an inward 2.5 somersault, currently in 19th. So unless she does something spectacular, she is going to be missing out on a place in that final. Looked from our angle very close to the board. Those marks multiplied by 2.7.
It's a bit tight. First objective is to push away from that platform.
Judges score 6, 6.5, 6, 6.5, 6, 6.5, 5.5. Total score for this dive 29.95. Anna Tunisia.
Anna Tunisheva of Russia, 14 years of age and having a good run out here in 5th and looking to keep it going with a back 3.5 somersault. It's another 3.3 degree of difficulty.
Entry she'd been looking for, but trying to follow in her teammates' footsteps as the second dive of 3.3 we've seen, and it was
Judges score 5,
Russian Timoshenina who did it previously.
5, 4.5. Total score for this dive 47.85.
47.85. 4.5 is
Kristina Sheshka
for her. Kristina Sheshka of Belarus. 15, just outside the frame at the moment.
Just here, that's a big splash. She just went a little bit further, too far on that rotation and couldn't get the vertical entry required for a clean, quiet entry into the water.
4, 5, 4, 4.
Greater the spin speed, the greater the need of the strength to come on the brakes. It's down at 4.5s.
Julie Dawson.
Nobody really setting us alight here in this 7th of 8 rounds. Julie Thorson with a back 2.5 somersault, 2.9.
Last dive averaging 4.5, so she'll be really needing and wanting to improve on those scores with this dive now.
Again, the water is quite heavy for the 15-year-old. She's got some European and World Junior Championship experience behind her, so definitely been looking for a place in the final, but not with a dive like that, one suspects. Right down in the 4s. Maybe again, as we saw with the men on the 1 metre, that the pressure of competition, the extent of it in time, that is taking its toll.
Next up, Dominika Mirovska. of Poland with a reverse 2.5 somersault. One of the hardest dives she's choosing to put into her selection of 8.
The entry looked as though it was going well, but it still really feel as clean as it should have been. She's again has been in the European Junior Championship Platform final, 47.60. Just about okay.
Iona Kerjan of Romania. She's opting for the most difficult dive yet for herself. 3.0, this backward 2.5 somersault, 1.5 twists.
Didn't go at all well.
See her feet flick over after she entered the water, or after she started to enter the water.
Through the twists, the tuck position was a bit half-hearted, and then she lost her shape on entry. 37.50. Again, this long competition, testing the girls. Remember, the early dives were in the compulsory section, which carries on. Down in 22nd place is Nazim Naji of France, up into the arm stand for the forward double somersault. She's only got 2.4 degree dives left, just a bit unsteady. Well done, holds it, now she's in control.
She recovered the beginning of that dive. It looked like she was going to get the wobbles. Not managed to bring it back, but she had a good starting position, just not the perfect finishing position.
6.5, 6. Total score for this dive, 43.20. Lois Thompson.
Next up, Lois Tolson of Great Britain. Britain having a good first day in these preliminary competitions, just getting herself ready there. She is leading the pack and just getting herself ready with another wipe down there. 15 years of age and looking a bit of a diving talent here, if she can just keep her form going. Forward 3.5 somersault, 3.0.
A little bit over rotation on her entry. Good position through the air.
Tightening up the pike on the way down, then into that position. Just a little bit untidy on the entry, spoiled it and hauled it back to 43.50.
Elenek of Sweden about to approach the reverse 2.5 somersault.
Hauled herself, worked her way into not a bad position.
Just 2 dives between her and a place in the final.
Heavy entry. She's competing over the full range, 1, 3 and 10 meters.
See the power and the lift she was trying to generate there.
Judges' score is 4.5, 4, 4.5, 4, 4.5, 4.5. Total score for this dive.
Bit of a struggle, some of these dives for some of these girls. The marks down in the 4, 4.5s. Disappointing for them.
Next up, Noor Leinen for the Netherlands. A slightly easier 2.3 rank dive from what we've seen in the last few divers have chosen.
Never really got into a stride on that one.
She did opt to go from just the 5 meter board. That reduces your time in the air. Making it that bit harder.
5.5. Total score for this round is 34.50.
Back up stairs on the 10 meter level is Anna Tuxen, 8th. Just needs to play comparatively safe. It's a 2.8 inward 2.5 somersault and just a nice tidy dive required. Not as tidy as she was hoping for. Nice tight piked position.
She just starts to lose it at the end there. Her feet lose the extension. Affects her entry.
This dive, 39.20. Ellen Circa.
Ellen Circa from Finland, 11th. Just the right side of that top 12 line. 2.4 and 2.3, her remaining 2 dives, starting with this arm stand forward double somersault. Needs to just get there first and hold it. Got the control. Not bad. The longer the hold, you always feel the strain on the arms more. Got to show the control. 39.60.
Total score for this dive, 39.60. Franca Yen.
Well, we're whizzing through this penultimate round. Franca Yen of Germany. Arm stand back, double somersault, 1.5 twists. Taking her time to get into that difficult position on the 10 meter board. She just lost control completely at the beginning. How frustrating for the German.
Really had much chance to get herself into a decent position. It's pretty well a fall off that platform.
3.5, 4.5. Total score for this dive, 38.40.
Fatigue creeping in all round, I think. Just moving down onto the 7.5 meter board for Ines Hummel. Just a 2.00 difficulty dive for her.
She'll need very good scores from the individual judges to make that a good overall score. So it is only a 2.0.
Judges scores 5, 5.5.
She's only really been competing since 2010, which is not a long time in sporting terms. Gets a couple of 5.5s and a 5, 32. Vlada Titsenko of Ukraine is inside the top 12 and looking for a place in the final later.
She saved her more difficult dives to the end, including this one. Great control at the top of the board. Exploding off the meter platform.
5.5, 6, 6, 5, 6, 6.5, 5.5. Total score.
It's getting over the 50 mark there.
7.5. Elena Vassen.
Next up, Elena Vassen of Germany. Going well, third overall. This time she has an inward 2.5 somersault. 2.8. She's got a 3.2 left after this. Tight in the tuck position, pike position, sorry, but again, the entry wasn't quite as clean. Forehead right on her knees there.
5.5, 6. Total score for this dive, 46.20.
46.20. And final diver at the end of this penultimate round is Shanice Lobb from Great Britain, ranked fourth, a 3.2 dive inward 3.5 somersault still to go, and another 3.2 dive in her locker. Just does need to make a serious error here.
You could almost feel the exertion as she powered off the board.
Not flawless, not disastrous. Don't forget that the dive order is decided as well in this preliminary competition.
3.5, 5, 3.5, 4.5. Total score for this dive, 43.20.
Not her best, to say the least. 43.20. Let's have a look at that very interesting looking leaderboard now. With just one round to go, Yulia Timoshina still out the front by 20 odd points. Toulson, Vassen, Lobb of Britain, and the Russian girl again. Pavola of Finland, and Azerbaijan has a representative looking good, and Serka and Liulko are wrestling the most for that position in this evening's final.
So this is now the deciding round, round number 8. These young athletes, all age 18 and under, have really got to prove their maturity, keep their concentration. They cannot afford to make a mistake now.
And we start with a big welcome again to the top of the board for Olga Bykovskaya from Azerbaijan. Went for it anyway. Born in the Netherlands. Just a bit heavy on entry, but may well have done enough. 39.15, she'll have a long wait.
So we're down to the 7.5 metre platform for Anna Tasiak of Poland. She's left herself too much to do, but she'll want to finish on a strong dive, purely for confidence.
.15 years of age, priceless experience. This is her only event. 3 6s to complete.
Representing Romania, Iona Pastiu.
Up next from Romania, Ioana Pastiu, 17th. Arm stand back double somersault, 2.8.
Using her legs to push off the board, but not controlling herself on the way down, and that big splash you just saw then on the entry. Big over rotation as she goes into the water. She's not going to be happy with that to finish off her competition. Nervously waiting the scores. She'll be waiting for feedback from her coach as well.
Judges' scores 3, 3, 2.
Not worth the wait, I'm afraid.
3, 2.5. Total score for this dive 22.40. Representing Finland.
Next we have Saija Parvola of Finland, looking to secure her place in the final with a forward 3.5 somersault. And a pretty well executed dive.
When you talk about athletes looking or sounding heavy, she was not one of those. That dive, one of the better entries we've seen for a while.
Very committed to it. Certainly didn't spare the horses on their charge along that platform. 51.30. Well done.
Representing Ukraine,
Ukraine, Valeria Liulku. Now she is the one at the moment with nose pressed up against the window looking in. 13th place. Just below the line. Only 15 years of age. That looked a bit snatched. Must be 2.5 somersaults in there.
Judges score 5.5, 6, 6.5.
She got 41.40.
Total score for this dive.
Now she has to wait and see just how her rivals perform. Here is Yulia Timoshenina leading the pack at the moment. Back 2.5 somersault, 1.5 twists. 3.2 difficulty for this proven competitor aged just 17 from Moscow.
I think she is a class above many of her competitors here today. The crowd loving it. She's been consistent, gradually moving up the leaderboard, and I think she is going to be going into the final as the favourite.
4 seasons of competing on the Grand Prix circuit has certainly stood her in fine stead here with 3 sixes, a nice safe dive to wrap up with. Didn't need anything too flash.
Next up, Kimberly Lee, the Netherlands. She's let her position slide down to 19th. That last dive was quite damaging for her. She'll be hoping to finish on a far better note.
Just 4'11". One of the smallest divers in the competition. Just looking to hold it there. Quite a way back from the edge of that platform. Come on. There's a balance between having the control and just hovering there, waiting for the trigger, deciding she can go.
I think that will be an improved score on her previous dive.
Total score for this dive 39.60.
And it is, but only just. 6-0.
Georgia's representative here, Tamar Sichinava, again just on the fringe. She didn't hang about there and looked as though she hadn't really totally composed herself. It was all a bit hurried, as though she wanted to get it over with. And really lost all form.
She was only 2 places away from making the final before that dive. And I don't think that will be enough with just 30.0, the total score there.
Representing the Russian Federation, Anna Chunisheva.
Anna Chunisheva, 14-year-old Russian girl, doing extremely well in 5th place. Already had a 4th place in the Diving World Series in the mixed synchronized platform event. Here, very much on her own at the top of that board. Very quick it all was.
Get the advantage of this slow motion now. It still looked fast.
Judges score 8, 7.5, 7.5.
She's done pretty good. She got an 8. She got 2 8s there. They didn't count. 72 points is a positive pools win of what we've seen recently.
Kristina Sheshka. Belarus looking a bit nervous as she approaches the end of the 10-metre platform, ready for her back 2.5 somersault, half twist. She didn't need to look too nervous. She was very controlled at the top of that dive. The scores anxiously there.
6, 6.5, 6, 6. Total score for this dive,
49-40. Really has been quite a range of scores here. Julie Thorsen of Norway now, well down the pack.
Such a spread of talent, well, not of talent, of experience, I should say, in this field today.
Again, a bit hurried. Only 15, plenty of years ahead of her.
The judges score 5.5, 6, 5.5, 5.5, 6.5, 5.5, 5.5. Total score for this dive, 42.90.
Averaging at 5.5
Representing Poland, Dominika Milowska.
through that dive.
On the platform now, Dominika Milowska of Poland, just a little bit short at the moment in 16th. 2.8 the difficulty here.
Really composing herself. Only on the 7.5 metre board.
That too was rather rushed.
Can really see she has to open out of that dive that little bit sooner when you're going from the 7.5 metre. Less time to complete the move. That's why it stays as a 2.8 level of difficulty. And only a 37.8 to finish on.
Iona Kirșan representing Romania. .0 with this forward 3.5 somersault. Seemed to travel outwards after the first rotation.
Trying her hardest to get her head as close to her knees as possible. That pike position really tight.
Representing France, Messam Nagy.
Next up, Messam Nagy of France. We're back down to the 7.5 metre platform. She's only opted up to the 10 metre platform once, and that was the last dive.
Very flat entry there. Never got into a good vertical position.
Now, less common, that was almost an under rotation as she hits the water. Common mistake we have been seeing is that over rotation when the legs go past vertical. Hers didn't quite make it to that point.
Representing Great Britain, Lois Tolson.
Next up, just composing herself at the top of the platform, Lois Toulson, second in the rankings, the 15-year-old from Great Britain, from Huddersfield in Yorkshire.
She'll be pleased with that as her final dive into of this 8, and she'll be hoping that it's enough to mean it isn't her final dive of this women's platform event.
Well, they don't mess about in Yorkshire, they like to say, and she certainly hasn't done that so far today. 57.60 to conclude her programme. Ellen Ek from Sweden, also in a comfortable position, ranked 6th. This her final dive for the moment. Had a bit of a problem putting the brakes on, but attacked it.
She didn't leave anything behind when she started that dive, running along the platform. Sheer determination.
The tidiest pike we've seen so far.
See, she didn't manage to get her hands together to break that entry.
Nora Lennon down in 21st position for the 15-year-old from the Netherlands. Other one from the PSV Diving Club in Eindhoven.
Lennon had quite a strong start to the competition with those lesser difficulty dives, but as the as the dives have got more difficult, you just saw then a struggle on her takeoff, almost falling, trying to bend the elbows for a push to give her that extra time and lift, but it just didn't materialize.
Total score for this dive, 26.40. Representing Norway, Anne Tuxen.
Anna Tuxen from Norway in an awkward 11th position with not a lot to spare if she wants to be back. She's competed in the Grand Prix in Rostock as well, didn't quite make the final there, so would really like to here.
Well, she really did ruin her chance on that last dive. But that might be enough to put her into that final.
Fairly efficiently done.
Judges score 6, 6, 6.5, 5.5, 6, 6, 6.5. Total score for this dive, 50.40.
Decent, very decent.
And I think she's an athlete we'll see again later.
Coming down the boards to 5 meters here, Ellen Surka. Back 1.5 somersault. worth a more modest 2.3.
But if executed well, it could move her back up. Tight pike.
7.5, 5.5, 6, 6, 6, 6, 5.5. Total score for this dive, 41.40.
A few discrepancies on the judges' points, but it does give her that total of 41.4.
Frenze Jan representing Germany. Again, she's got 1 foot in the final here in 9th. Right to the pike position there.
Now that's a 2.8 level of difficulty, so if she gets 6 or 7s, they will be multiplied up.
54.60.
Not quite 6.5s, but they do give her a score of 54.6.
For France next. This is Ines Hummel. Right down in 23rd out of 24. Not the way she would have wanted to finish off. This is her only event.
Judges score.
Never really gave herself a chance there.
4, 3.5, 4, 4, 4.
A long day.
For this dive, 27.60. Representing Ukraine, Vlada Tsetsenko.
For the Ukraine, 15-year-old Vlada Tsetsenko is next up. 7th. 15-year-old has had a good day so far. Just steady away now. 2.9 forward, 2.5 somersault, 1 twist.
You could hear nice clear contact of her feet when she made that bounce before springing upwards as much as she could to get the height for that 2.5 somersault.
Bit of a gap there on that height position.
46.40. Representing Germany,
46.40.
Now we are just 2 divers left. Currently ranked 3rd, Elena Vasson of Germany. She has saved her most difficult dive to last. 2.5 somersaults, 1.5 twists.
We out after the results caption.
That will be enough. I am pretty certain to keep her safely in the top 12. She'll be quietly confident.
6.5, 6, 5.5, 6.
With that score, she can be.
Total score for this dive, 57.60.
And so we come to the final dive of a long session for the girls. Shanice Lobb, 17 years of age, from Great Britain, currently ranked 4th. And looking to send herself towards the final later today in just the right frame of mind. Bit of rotation, no disaster though.
Judges scores, 5.5, 6, 6, 5.5, 6.5, 6. Total score for this die, 57.
Well, that was enough. 57.60, 3 sixes to complete her first part of the day. Let's now have a look at how that has all shaken down.
The official results are now being displayed on the scoreboard.
Here we go. Timoshenina, the pedigree performer, leads from the top, and then her Russian partner third. 2 British girls are through. There's the cut. Azerbaijan will get a representative. Finland's Ellen Sirka just makes the cut. The rest of them are the disappointed divers. The top 12 will all be back for the final later.
At the Baku 2015 European Games. In a couple of moments on the big screen, we'll play you the highlights of this morning's session, and we hope we get to see you again this evening. Have a good afternoon.
Even though the dancing's